It is a radical journey of revolution to rebirth ourselves out of a matrix, a societal matrix of conditions that keep us suppressed and disconnected from the greatest power that exists within our womb space.
Welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast with me, Rebecca Wilson. An embodied experiential space for you to drop deep into the wealth of wisdom within your being and activate a fuller, richer you. I am a feminine awakener, thought leader, embodied business doula, sacred business midwife, healer, and all-round medicine woman. I am here to guide women deeper into their essence and power, to activate their life force, awaken pleasure, and support them to live an embodied life. I will help you birth your visions, dreams, creations, desires, and sacred business into the world from an easeful, embodied, and rooted place within. My work supports women to become more available for life, love, relationship, connection, creation, pleasure, and wealth. I will activate you into self-leadership and self-mastery to truly live an embodied and awakened life. Welcome on the journey, my love.
Welcome, beautiful woman. It's so lovely to be sharing these moments together. Welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast. Welcome to my world and the world that I share with so many beautiful, profound women across the globe. In today's episode, I would love to share a little bit about my journey, specifically my journey of reconnecting to my womb space and the healing that has unfolded and unraveled for me throughout that journey. So as I began on my journey of awakening, I very much began with a big event in life that shook me very deeply to my core and led me to ask a lot of questions about life and myself. And that was really the start of this very long journey that I've been on so far, and I know I will continue to be on for the rest of my life. It really was an experience of a rebirth of myself through the self and identity that I had held or believed prior to this life event, and getting to know the new version of myself, or possibly the truer, more real version of myself. And that journey really took a spiraling and unfolding in many different directions. And I was walking that path for some years. And before I entered a new season of my awakening, which was the journey of my womb. So throughout my healing experience and my awakening journey, I have been facilitating and holding space for others. I began with yoga and meditation and sound healing and embodied movement practices. Very quickly, I began to see a pattern emerging that my spaces that I created called in women. There was only women arriving into my space and the offerings that I had been creating at that time. And so naturally, as these women's gatherings, which were not birthed as such, but just naturally became that, unfolded, the conversations that we would be having and sharing within the spaces naturally led into the feminine, what it means to be a woman, our cycles and inner seasons, our emotions and feelings, our experiences through womanhood, and so on. And I always sensed that this was a divine intervention by something greater than my own being that was guiding me, not only in the spaces that I was holding and creating, but also on my own journey of unraveling. And it was through sitting in these spaces with these women that I began to also ask myself some really big questions. And particularly, I had been going through a journey of cleansing my body after being on the hormonal birth control for some time. I had come off the birth control quite a few years, maybe 2 years before I had my rebirth or my awakening. But my body was still really holding on to everything and all the ways that being on that birth control had impacted me and my hormones. And I was still very much in a felt sense of some disconnection to myself and my body, and most deeply my womb. I had begun to explore my cycle and understand these different aspects of myself on a deeper level. And there was so much more to be found. And it was through this journey of supporting other women and listening to their stories that I began to unravel mine, which led me on my path of training and gaining qualifications within womb health, womb massage, womb healing, shamanic practices, womb blessings, and really the most powerful training of all, which is the learning of my own body, my own womb space, and my own wisdom. Something that was a palpable experience for me throughout this journey was a real sense of sinking deeper into my body. I had very much been existing out of my body, disassociated and disconnected for many years of my life. And if you've been around in my world or listened to previous podcasts, you will have heard me share on this. And then when I was inhabiting my body, I was possibly experiencing life through the mind and not really having or cultivated this felt sense of my center being low down in my being and really rooted in my pelvis and womb. And as I began my journey of reconnecting to this space inside of myself, this was one of the many profound realizations that I began to experience and have. This felt sense of grounding into my own body, my own root space, my pelvis and womb, and really allowing this to become my center. Like gravity exists in this place, and I am fully here inhabiting her, my womb space now. It was such a big shift for me because, as I say, and I've shared so often, experiencing life very disassociated and disconnected, I never really fell into this space in my body. In fact, in my younger years before I embarked on this journey, I was very much in the conditioning of trying to do everything within my power and control to leave and disconnect from this space, taking the birth control and taking other forms of medications, using sanitary products to minimize my experience of my cycle, being on certain birth controls that suppressed having no bleed whatsoever, and so on. There was very much in the conditioning of what can I do to get rid of this thing that is just an inconvenience to my life. But then, of course, through the awakening and the descending into my body, I arrived into this profound realization for myself that this feminine cyclical experience is not an inconvenience at all, but is really a cycle of deep wisdom that exists within me. And I witnessed that existing in all the other women that I was sharing space and continue to share space with. So as I moved through this journey of cleansing and clearing my body from all of the toxins that I had been putting into her in the name of suppressing my feminine essence and cyclical nature, I began to awaken deeper and deeper into this quiet voice that exists within me. And this voice is a deep voice, and it lives very much in the depths of my being, in the core of my pelvis and womb space. And more as I began to sit and breathe and listen, I began to hear the greater wisdom that lives within me. I began to reconnect to my cyclical nature and my true essence as a woman. Within this journey, there was many waves of felt experience, grief, pain, rage, anger, frustration, sadness, for all the time that I had disconnected from this part of me, for the conditions of society and culture that deemed this a normal experience for women to suppress such powerful wisdom within their own bodies and beings. And through this opening and awakening within, a journey of reclaiming arrived, slowly and gently, integrating through a depth of honoring my own feminine essence and nature, deeply coming into relationship with my own cycle, the different emotional expressions that arrive through each of those points of that greater cycle, what I am and need in those moments in time. For myself, there's been a really deep journey of allowing the change and the points of difference in each stage of my cycle to be here fully. It was something that I battled with mentally for some time, as the conditioning of must be doing more and striving and constantly achieving ran much deeper into my psyche than I ever really had known or understood before, as I have always lived a life slightly out of the norm, if we will, and kind of marched to the beat of my own drum. There was still such an energy of masculinity that existed in my actions and my thoughts and the ways in which I pushed myself to strive beyond the capacity of each point and each season within the cycle of my menstrual cycle. Recognizing the power that actually lives within the honoring of the differences and the different points, the waves and the spirals of the feminine, was a real turning point for me. And it's often a moment that I witness and recognize in the women who are in my world and the women I have held space for. This moment of realization, the aha moment, the moment where they truly land and soften into, it's powerful to have all these different versions of ourselves within one cycle. There's great wisdom and strength that exists in that. And the allowing of those parts and however they manifest to be here in each stage is the healing balm to truly welcoming all parts of ourselves and our feminine essence into the dance of our lives. My journey of connecting to and healing and awakening my womb has been a journey of rooting into myself. And still now on my journey, which, as I've shared, will forever be unfolding, I find myself deepening into more truer versions of myself as time moves by and parts are integrated and old stories are dissolved in the presence of kindness and love. I journey through a reclaiming of my voice, my wisdom, my power, the beauty that exists within my body, the essence that I carry, which is unique to me. And I witness the women that I share my world with awaken into their essence, which is unique to them. It is a radical journey of revolution to rebirth ourselves out of a matrix, a societal matrix of conditions that keep us suppressed and disconnected from the greatest power that exists within our womb space. It is a journey of death and birth, of giving oneself to the void over and over again, to truly allow these truer parts, these more embodied, richer, wilder, more sovereign parts to be born, to rise from the ashes of that which has been burnt down inside of our beings. And there's a true arrival into a felt sense of inhabiting the body as we do take this journey. I deeply remember a moment in time after I had been traversing a challenging awakening and unraveling of my own psyche, where I stood in the kitchen of an old home. And for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, but I'm not really sure on that, as I stood there, I could feel my heels in the ground. And I realized I rarely experienced my feet connecting to the earth before that moment. This energy channel that moves through our body and through our feet in connection to the earth, for myself, had been severed and lost through the disassociation of my body and my womb space. And after unraveling what was a challenging belief system that I had held within my body, and moving through the cycle of death and rebirth, what came to me was this feeling of, I can feel my heels and I can feel my feet, and they are connected to the body of the earth. And through that, my legs and my pelvis and my womb can feel the vibration of Mother Earth again. And this was such a healing experience for me. It felt like, for many versions of myself, many lifetimes, through the lineage of women that I have been born from, and from the collective at large, to feel the presence of my feet connecting to the Great Mother's body. It felt like coming home. And this was a pivotal point in my own journey, and it guided me so deeply into all that I create and offer for women as they step into my world, and the practices that I create and guide women through, the experiences that are had, the inner journeys that unfold, supporting them all to arrive back into their body as their home, to feel their feet connected to the body of the earth, and to feel safe and steady, to cultivate a profound grounding and safety within their own being, to be here now in connection with themselves, with nature, with others, to be in relationship to themselves, their body, and their experiences and their lives, from a place of presence, deeply rooted in their own being. For me, this is a potent space and place to live from. It is a space of sovereignty, reclamation, a remembrance, inhabiting this space within my own being not only heals me on a cellular level, but I know it moves through the mother lineage I've been born from and sends ripples into all of the lives of the women that surround me. If you are a woman yearning to reconnect to her body, her heart, her womb, to feel her feet on the solid, steady ground of the earth, and to become available for the present moment of life, we welcome you to join us on our Medicine Woman retreat. We'll be gathering over autumn equinox, the 22nd to the 25th of September in the Peak District in the UK. A village of women will gather and we will explore through practice, ceremony, connection, sharing, nature, nourishing foods, sacred listening, dancing, and the feminine arts, what it is to become a rooted, embodied woman. Places are limited, my loves. So if this is calling to you, if your heart and your womb have opened with a big yes to this experience, we are here with arms open wide, welcoming you to join us. The details of this offering are in the show notes of this episode. As always, if you have any questions or insights or your heart longs to share, connect with me on Instagram, which is at Rebecca_Wilson_. From my womb to yours, my love. May you be rooted, grounded, and find home within.
Thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you loved this musing and sharing, I would love for you to share this episode far and wide. You can arrive into all of my offerings at rebecca-wilson.com. Links to dive deeper with me are in the episode notes. Remember, my love, you are here to be the fullest, most potent, powerful, embodied version of you. I am here to guide you into that.
Hey love, I'm dropping in here to welcome you to join us in our online community membership, The Village. I created this space for women to gather, to return to themselves, to deepen the connection and the relationship with self, whilst held in a community of like-minded women walking the journey and the path of their own awakening.